All right, so we're gonna diagnose this thing, and first thing I noticed that I think it's being used commercially. This thing's in pretty rough shape, cracked housing and whatnot, but so this is a residential model. It's a KM56 with a line trimmer attachment, but off rip, this thing has the easy start, which is the absolute most annoying thing a steel does, and it's pretty easy to pull over. It's turning the engine over really easy, so it won't idle. It'll rev up, but it won't idle at all. So I just, being low compression, I want to look at the cylinder, and it's really easy to do. Take the recoil starter off here. Now that I, revved it a few times, it's going to be kind of warm, so try not to burn ourselves. Oh, this thing has that stupid attachment on it. You don't have to turn it upside. You normally can put it on its side, but it has a anti-kickback attachment over on the handle here. Oh. So I'm looking at the cylinder here. It looks fine. I don't know if y'all can see inside there, but it looks fine in there. So we'll go ahead and move on because the carburetor is leaking pretty bad. So check the bearings here. Yeah, the carburetor is leaking. I'm pretty sure this is fuel soaked. Yeah, fuel soaked air filter. So it's leaking internally and externally here. So we're gonna replace the carburetor on this and let her go. Oh, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the muffler back on there. I have to do it upside down because that handle over there. Okay. Roll her back over here. I'll clean this off so none of the debris falls into the new to the fuel lines or the new carburetor. So we'll clean this off and we'll replace the carb. Oh, all right, we drained the gas out of it already. Start off taking this carburetor off. Pop this thing off here. There's a tank vent line that comes to this air filter housing, and sometimes it's kind of tight. So we'll take that off as well. So we can. There we go. Okay, take the top fuel line off. The steel fuel line tool works great on these steel carburetors. Get the bottom line off there. Throttle cable is next. I usually just grab the cable, spin this around, and then slide it out of its little slot there. This thing's pretty worn, it looks like the actual housing that holds it. That's pretty much it for the carburetor. Throw that to the side. Put a new one on OEM. I'll use Chinese stuff if it's my own stuff or if it's something I'm gonna sell, or they do good, but they're just not reliable. And if you're putting your name on something, it needs to be reliable. So put that top fuel line first and then put the bottom one on. Gotta hold your mouth just right. Doesn't matter which one you put on first. That's the one I just put on first. This thing was so dirty and gummed up that, dude, this fuel line is slippery. What the heck? It's like they put freaking KY jelly on this thing. Okay, throttle cable now. Sometimes it's easier just to do it by hand, putting it on anyways. Let's see here. Boom. Okay. Now the air filter housing here. Gasket's still there, don't have to worry about that. Slide that tank vent line all the way on. Slide the housing on. Now we'll put the nuts back on. Pretty straightforward stuff. So I'm gonna reach over here and make sure that this housing, or this line is connected to the housing nice and firm. Has an arrow, points obviously up. The wording there is up as well. So put the recoil starter on now. Sometimes these can be a little tricky, but a little finagle. Okay. Oh, wrong bit. People ask why I don't rebuild a lot of these carburetors. I do rebuild some of them, but in the end, 95% of them are, I'd say 90% of them are cheaper for us to replace than they are to rebuild. Get you a little hook like that, fish that fuel line out of there to get the fuel filter off. Just like that. Yeah, sometimes they call for a different fuel filter. I don't know why, don't ask me, but this is what this one called for. It's a different size, but it's still gonna get the job done. No problem at all. Okay, there's that. We will put the air filter cover on now. Be careful with these, you will damage the screws, so, or the threads for the screws. So we'll put some gas in her. Canned gas, that is, a residential model, so we service them all out with canned gas just because people may not use these right away. They may put them in their garage because they just mowed and they won't. Maybe they hired someone because their, equipment was broken and they may not use it for a little bit, but a commercial guy is going to use it right away. So that's all she wrote for this bad boy. So there's some primes. Little Hawk Tua in the carburetor. Full choke.